What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast, a video game show. I am one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno to you as well. How are you this fine afternoon?
Doing perfectly fine. I can't decide if I look tan in the viewfinder or if I look the same as normal and just sweaty.
No, I definitely feel tan. I actually, when I hopped onto my stream earlier today, I was streaming a little bit more Bloodborne, and I hopped on, and I was like, either the color settings are really good today, or I've actually got some color. Yeah.
I didn't have time. I was working today, but I didn't have time to join your stream. How far have you made it in Bloodborne?
I made it today to the blood-soaked beast in Old Yarnum.
In Old Yarnum.
So last time I was going to go fight the guy.
Papa Gascoigne.
Yes, I beat him. I finally beat him. Okay, he was a pain in the ass, but I finally
Also, I know it's pronounced Father Gascoigne.
Gascoigne, that's how we say it?
I'm choosing.
Okay, I just said Papa G the whole time.
Yeah, Papa G. That's a great name for him.
I just said like Papa Giorgio from, what is it, Vegas Vacation? National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. You're here to listen to us talk about video games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. New episodes come out on Thursdays across podcast services around the World Wide Web, as well as a video version of each episode over on our YouTube channel. Links for all that are in the description below. You can also find us on social media at Facebook, Threads, and Instagram. You can also find us on a Discord server as well, where we have a lot of great conversation when we're not here recording the show. And finally, if you'd like to help support the show, make it bigger and better, well, you can head over to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, just like Ark, Brandon W, Bro Mogan, Super Saiyan Ace, Erica L, Elise F, James K, Michael B, Michael S, Snooty Boots, Susan M, and Zach S have done. Notice, I know we had a few clingers in the old Discord, still holding on to their annular, throbular names. Actually, wait, they might all be gone.
Nope,
Snooty Boots is still holding on to it. But you know what? You had your fun in the sun, and the time has passed. But if you've head over to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, just like they did, you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. They get some cool perks, like getting the episodes early before the general Thursday release, and access to a private channel on our Discord server, the Rogues Gallery. I still have to go to the bit about free people, so you might as well wait.
People, clothing brand?
No, the people who don't Patreon. Oh. You're already trying to get to the heart emoji, and there's still a whole
we were going to be talking about the clothing brand free people.
No, I have no thoughts on that, unfortunately.
Overpriced. That's all you need to know.
But if you can't do that, that's no big deal at all, and there are tons of free ways that you can support the show, such as telling your friends, writing us reviews, or subscribing wherever you listen to or watch the show. But we love each and every single one of our viewers, listeners, and patrons alike. Heart emoji.
Heart emoji. Smooches XOXO. Wait, so I've seen the young people doing
a different heart emoji. Yeah, I've heard about this.
But I don't have like the finger.
What is it? Is it like?
It's like I don't have
this?
No, it's different.
That's a pretty good heart.
It's like. It's something weird.
That's a pretty good
one. That's a pretty good one.
That's a pretty good one.
But anyways, I've tried to do it myself, and whatever it is, I don't have the dexterity for it. Whatever they're doing, I can't figure out how to do it. So if you're a Zoomer and you know how to make the new, which we don't have any Zoomers that listen to this show. It is all millennials.
Millennials and a few Gen Ys hanging out, or Gen Xers. Or whichever one. Which one was
I thought Gen X was the one above us.
Yes, that's what I meant. Then.
The one right below us
is Z, and now that's Alpha. Alpha's the new one.
Yeah, you're right. If any of those alpha kids,
it's all whatever.
Anyways,
it's neither here.
If you're young enough to not remember 9/11, you're the demographic I'm looking for.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, if you're old enough to remember 9/11, you can.
That's the measure.
You're in the right place. Well, everybody, before we do get into the main topic of the day, which we are going to be talking about some of the big announcements.
We're doing reveals, a little bit of a belated roundup.
A belated wrap-up of the Summer Games Fest, but there is a reason. We took a little hiatus from the show because we did have to say, Sam and I had to say goodbye to Fender, our dog. A couple weeks ago. And, if you've listened to the show for any amount of time, you will probably have heard Fender's mentioned. If you've watched the video versions of the episodes, you'll probably have seen him come into the background.
You've maybe heard him clicking around.
Or his
harumphing
when he needed to go out during the middle of recordings. Yeah, all that stuff. Just the wonderful things that made him him. And we miss him a lot. But obviously, we wanted to take some time to kind of take a break and just to
Process.
process and say goodbye to our bub. And
The original Team Chat pup.
that's right. So, but yeah, so we took a few weeks off, and now we're back. And so because of that, that all happened kind of around the Summer Games Fest time.
Yeah.
And everything like that, which I have a side note story when we get into that later that I'll be talking about. So we're getting now into, obviously it's a couple weeks old at this point, but we still saw so many things in those showcases and everything that we were pretty damn excited about.
I have to admit, there was a lot more than I thought there was going to be. I had low to zero expectations for any of it, just because I didn't really even think about what I would want.
Yeah.
I went into it blank slate this time.
Well, it's like because I already knew, I already knew what the big Star Wars offering for this year was going to be. Star Wars Outlaws. We had just had Survivor, so I'm like, I'm not necessarily expecting anything huge coming from the Star Wars realm, unless we got like an update to that Star Wars Eclipse one that the Detroit Become Human studio and Heavy Rain studio is doing. Whatever, Quantic Dream.
That sounds right. That sounds like a real game.
But apparently, I saw that pop up as a screen grab from that trailer that they showed off. Somebody said that was 3 years ago they showed off that trailer. We have heard zilch
Oops.
about it from then. So who knows what'll happen. But anyway, so it's like, same thing. I had no big...
There was just nothing. There was nothing I was hyped about.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting anything that I thought, oh, I can't wait to see more of that.
Exactly.
Because the only thing that I actually want is Silk Song,
which you still didn't get. Spoiler alert.
There was no Silk Song to be found.
And so and I think too, there was a little bit. I was distracted with things with Fender and things like that. So it's like I wasn't necessarily in the mindset either of what could possibly be coming out. What could be the thing that we're gonna some big surprises or whatnot that we're gonna get to see. And I, like you, was pleasantly surprised with some of the games and the announcements and the showcases. Just seeing the stuff that was going to be coming out soon. I think there's some really great stuff coming down the pike for sure. But so I guess we'll start then with the very first one, which was the actual Summer Games Fest showcase put on by Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, we're going all the way back.
So
Papa Jeff.
Just for the sake of time, and since this is kind of a more low-key recapping
we're doing
event,
a loosey-goosey.
We're not going to go through every single thing. We're hitting the highlights.
Yeah, we were joking right before about how most of the stuff on both of our lists is just the stuff we care about. So spoiler alert, we're not going to mention Call of Duty even once after this. I saw it briefly come up on screen the Xbox showcase, or was that at Summer Games Fest?
It might have been both, honestly, but it was the big one of Xbox.
Yeah, but the point was I immediately tuned that out. I was like, I don't need this information. I am not the audience for this one.
I was surprisingly shocked when this one, sorry to extend the Call of Duty talk a little bit more, but they kept saying Call of Duty Black Ops 6 reveal. And I was like, when did 5 come out? Which then I realized, it's the Cold War one that came out a few years ago. But it was always branded as Call of Duty or Black Ops Cold War. So I never thought of it being 5. Gotcha. So then when they said this one was 6, I was like, is there a time warp that I just missed? But yeah, so no, we're not going to be necessarily hitting on that stuff as much. Just some of the other things that we think are going to be future potential bangers. So from Summer Games Fest, what's one of yours that you have on this list?
I mean, the top one that I was actually very much, oh my God, I can't wait for more of this, that I already knew about.
Yeah.
So this is a game that we've already had at least one very small trailer for before, but this time around, we got a more expanded trailer and a loosey-goosey release date of coming 2024 for Neva.
Yes.
The new game from the studio behind Grease. So a lot of people were thinking, is this actually Grease 2? I think
it looks like Grease 2.
It looks like it could be Grease 2. Maybe it was you.
In our watch along, we were we're doing a chat along, watch along on our Discord and everything, and I was like, oh, Grease 2.
I mean, you're kind of close.
And I was like, oh, okay.
It definitely has the same artistic look that Grease had, with just a couple of stylistic differences here and there. But it's a completely new character. It's a unnamed woman maybe right now, and what appears to be
it's a wolf, right? It's a big white wolf.
It's a wolf, but it looks so, especially when it's in its young form, it looks so much like Twig from that really cute animated show with the Hilda. So there's this really cute animated show on Netflix that's based off of actual like physical cartoon called Hilda, and it's so cute and fantastic. And the point is, there's this little beast that's like a little jackalope, and it's got little tiny antlers, and it's like a little white fox-looking thing.
Yeah.
And it looks exactly like the thing in the
that's
game
funny.
Neva. And I'm
That's
like,
funny.
look, it's Twig. So that's not what it is, obviously, but just every time I see it, I get that little extra emotional pull.
Sure.
Anyways, it looks like it's going to be a lot more combat focused than Grease was. Grease was very much just sort of an emotional / puzzling journey, side scrolling. Neva is the same in the fact that it's a side scroller and it has that beautiful watercolor look to it. But you get a sword. You get to actually fight
Hell
stuff
yeah.
this time.
Let's go.
And there were some scary looking creatures around. And I was like, oh my God, are we actually going to have to fight shit in this game? So it looks like you are. To what extent remains to be seen.
Right.
I expect it's probably going to be kind of a low-key affair still. I mean, nobody looked to Grease as the action-adventure game of the year.
Right.
So,
Which it really wasn't. It was way more of a,
yeah.
It was way more of a puzzler game and stuff like that. The original Grease or Grease.
Just Grease.
It's still the original Grease. But yeah, so Neva looks like it will probably be a pretty great time and probably will pull pretty hard on the good old emotional heartstrings,
Yes.
just like Grease did. One that you actually brought up to me that I was also like saw and was like, oh yeah, this looks fun. And then you brought up that we're like, oh, we should stream this or try to like do something with this later, is the Lego Horizon Adventures. Basically, it's Horizon Zero Dawn, but in Lego form. Like that's gonna be fun.
This is the first and only time I've actually looked at a Lego game. I know they get rave reviews. I know people love them. They have just never looked like the kind of game that I felt motivated enough to play. And I probably would have felt exactly the same about Horizon Lego Worlds. What's it actually called?
Horizon Adventures.
Horizon
Lego
Adventures.
Horizon Adventures.
Lego Horizon Adventures. I probably would have been very meh on this game too until they said local co-op. And then I was like, wait a second.
Couch
Jared,
co-op?
I love that game.
Hell yeah.
So maybe in the future sometime this year, because it is coming out in 2024, I believe. This one actually has a firm release date, well, fall of 2024. So when it comes out, maybe expect me and Jared to do a little stream co-op
little
play.
bit of Horizon Lego Adventures, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played a ton of the Lego games either. I think I played one because it was on the Vita, and I might have got it as like a PlayStation Plus game for the Lego movie when that came out. Had a tie-in video game, and then I played that one. And then I played the most recent like Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. That was like all the movies and stuff like that, and it was fun. Like I have fun with it, but it's also like it doesn't keep me around forever.
Yeah, it's a Lego game.
It's no Lego Island. Throwback shout out for that one if anybody
If
remember
you know,
plays
you
that
know,
one.
I guess, because I certainly don't.
But I mean, also, so moving on to one of the next big ones, though, that for me, especially, we'd heard about this game. It was teased, although it was kind of a Mandela effect thing, I gotta say, because I was like, everybody kept like, when there was a leak that this game was going to be announced or revealed, shown off at Summer Games Fest, and I started getting like pings on Discord. People send it to me on Instagram, being like, "Have you seen this Civ 7? Civilization 7? Have you seen it?" And I was like, "Wait." Didn't we know this was coming? Like it had been announced like last year at some point, like Civilization 7 is in the works. So maybe this is like the actual official announcement, just not kind of like a, hey, yeah, we're working on it thing. But I was like, everybody else is acting like this is the first we'd ever heard of it. And I'm like, am I in a different timeline? But no, still, fuck yes, I'm excited for Civ 7. Day one purchase.
It was,
for sure.
I think it was exclusively sort of like a cinematic trailer.
Yeah,
right?
like I mean, it's definitely like their opening thing. Like it just like it was a
opening animation.
an
That's
opening
more what I was
animation
going
kind of
for.
thing. Yeah, where it's like traveling, going through the different periods of time, like with these cool, like almost not like Game of Thrones like intro style, where it's like the mini diorama, but it was like these like various like
Actually, I was thinking mini diorama is the perfect way to describe it.
I guess that is what I'm trying to say.
Because it was like
but it's
a flying
it was
camera
like a flying camera
POV.
going through like
Yeah.
all these different dioramas of different time periods. That's what I was trying to say. Not in everything like that. So it was really cool. I mean, just to like be like, yeah, Civ 7, we're working on it. It's coming out.
Coming 2025.
Yeah, which is exciting. Supposedly.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Although, I'm going to say, I don't really remember Civ being well known for their delays. So,
Yeah.
I mean, also, it was like 2010 when Civ 5 came out, and Civ 6 came out in 15 maybe. So,
my
like,
God,
it's been a
2015.
long time.
It's been a while. Damn.
So, yeah. So, like, we're, and so it brings up a lot of things that, like, I potentially am very excited about. Like, it's just like, what will it even be? Each one kind of like brings in a new different like mechanic or system to try to work with. Like Civ 6 brought in districts as being their own separate things outside of cities. I mean, they were contained within a city, yes, but they were kind of like managed in their own separately. So like that was a really big thing. I would personally love to see an economic victory condition.
Ooh, yeah, just
That's
winning
not
by
one. Just like by like trade or like sheer monetary power. What that would look like, I don't necessarily know.
Well, the
like
funny
I would
thi-
love that.
I guess I'd never realized that wasn't one of the win conditions, because on the current global world stage, that is how you
Yeah, that's how you win.
So when you say, I don't know what that would look like, we know exactly what it looks like. We're
That's
living
true. That's true. But it still is the kind of thing where I was just like, for like Civ,
for the game, yes.
because that hasn't been a victory condition before, like what would that look like? I see people now too, like all over on the subreddit and stuff like that, talking about like, oh, what things would we like to see come back? One of the things that I personally agree with big time is in Civ 3. You could maybe do this in Civ 2, but in Civ 3, you could upgrade your throne room, and like periodically, like the people would love you enough they want to upgrade your throne room, and like that would be so cool to have that.
That's
back.
fun.
I also wonder like what the art style of it will be, because like Civ 3 was like a very like more of a realistic look to it. Civ 4 kind of went more towards a more like animated style and everything. Civ 5 kind of went back to that realism feel. Civ 6 went back to the more cartoon style. So like I'm kind of wondering where 7 will fit into this. So it's I don't know. I still play Civ 6 so much. We've talked about this in ad nauseum, I'm sure, about Civ 6. So like Civ 7, man, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
My wish list for Civ 7 is that, handhelds are becoming a big thing nowadays.
Yes,
We've got
yes,
the PS
yes.
Portal, we've got the ROG Ally, we've got all kinds of
Steam
handhelds.
Deck.
Steam Deck. What I really want is for there to be some sort of like spectator mode that is handheld enabled, so that when I'm watching my brother over the holidays play Civ 7, like I'll be holding the PS Portal in my hands and it will just explain to me
What's
what
happening.
the fuck is happening
Yeah.
at any given time
and that's
on
kind
screen.
of the thing too that like I think I'm very excited about it too, in that Civ has long been a game. Like I started with Civ 2, and when I first started playing Civ 2, I was playing, I was a little kid playing easiest difficulty, and just like pretty much was just trying to win by military domination.
Just always
every time.
nuking people
Yeah,
right,
pretty
left,
much.
and
Just
center.
like doing as much as I could do that. This is the only way I wanted to win. Civ 3, like I tried to branch out a little bit, but still. But then it's like Civ 6 is like when I really kind of felt like I got into the nitty gritty, but I also still, when I first started playing it, was still kind of like had those same mindsets and like how I'd always been
Well,
playing
it's because you grew up as Milord Jarrett.
Exactly.
It's
Like,
in your
it's just in my
DNA.
DNA to play it in this very specific way. So I'm excited with 7 to come to to bring into it the new understanding of how to like play and operate from Civ 6, bring that into 7, and like, I don't know, maybe actually be able to try a D&D game and not get destroyed in the first 5 seconds. That would be cool.
That'd
But,
be cool.
we'll have to just see. So Civ 7, very much looking forward to
I
it.
do have a question. So I have very limited knowledge of Civ 6, well, any of the Civs except for as a spectator.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any playable characters and or nations that have never been featured that you want in Civ
Oh,
7? Like,
geez.
who's on your wish list?
That's a good question.
Have they ever had Catherine the Great?
Yes.
Ooh,
They
okay,
have had
good,
Catherine
good,
the
good.
Great.
Very nice, very nice.
I mean, right now the leader list is so massive.
Cassandra of Sweden? I think her name is Cassandra. History buffs do
Of
not check me
Sweden?
on that.
That sounds right. You know what? I gotta
There was
look,
like a very
because there's
famous Swedish princess that like just lived her life the way she wanted to, and she was awesome for it.
Civ 6.
I can't imagine how that would make her a good fit for Civ, but who knows?
Because there's like right now with all the expansions, the leader list in Civ 6 is massive. Actually, one who I would love, just because I've always loved the time period, Hannibal. He's a great general in
Yeah.
6 and stuff like that. And you can actually be Carthage, but as Dido, the original, the first queen of Carthage and stuff like that, or Phoenicia. You can be her, but you can't be Hannibal. So like I would love, like Hannibal is one who I've always had on my list.
Fascinating.
But I'll read through this list real quick, then we can move on. We got Abraham Lincoln, Alexander the Great, Amentiore of Nubia, Ambiorix of Gaul. I'm probably going to not be able to say all
Sorry,
these correctly.
people of
I
Vietnam.
apologize. Batreo from Vietnam. Basil II from
Basil
II from Byzantine, Catherine de' Medici of France, Chandragupta of India, Cleopatra of Egypt, Cyrus of Persia, Dido of Phoenicia, Eleanor of Aquitaine, Elizabeth I, Frederick Barbarossa, Gandhi, Genghis Khan, Gilgamesh, Gitara, Gorgo, Hammurabi, Harold Hardrada, Hojo Tokimune, Yadwiga, Jayavarman VII, Zhao III, John Curtin, Julius Caesar, Christina of Sweden.
I like that. Oh, maybe that's
is
who
that
I was
her?
thinking
That's probably
of.
who you're thinking of.
Oh, nice. Wow, they already got to her.
Kublai Khan, Kupe of the Maori, Lady Sixsky of the Maya, Lautaro of the Mapuche, Ludwig II, another German, Mansa Musa of Mali, Matthias Corvinus of Hungary, Menelik II, Montezuma, Mavemba Nzinga of Congo, Nader Shah, Nzinga Mibide,
Oh, boy.
Pachacuri, Pedro II, Pericles, Peter, Phil II. It keeps going.
Yeah, there are so many on this list. It's actually
my God,
way
I'm
longer than we
stopping.
thought it would be.
So it's hard to know. That being
So-
said, like what would be my like a pick of who would miss because there's so many.
Yeah, the list is actually much longer than I thought
very
it was.
big. I would
So
like it to
that's
maybe
my
like focus on it.
education.
Maybe not so much like it could be more like influential people of their top of those. Like, because that's the thing in statistics right now is there's great people who you can earn who give certain benefits. And like Hannibal is one of those. It would be cool if maybe those people could in some way become a bigger part in your government or in your civilization as a whole. I'm not sure. Like if they could become leaders in some way, but who knows? Who knows? We'll have to see. All right, what you got on another one for Summer Game Fest?
Oh, just all kinds of stuff. So a couple of updates about games that were already existing. So by now it is old news, but just in case you missed it, Alan Wake 2 got some new DLC. So the what's it called? The Night Shop, the Night episodes, the Night Stories,
Yeah, Night Files?
Night.
Something like that.
Sorry, I immediately forgot. I didn't write it down in my notes.
I got it.
Alan Wake 2 got some SIG DLC. It's basically 3 new episodes featuring characters either
Night
from
Springs.
Night Springs. God damn it.
Oh, it's already out.
Yeah, it's already out. It came out like the day after Summer
Yeah.
Games Fest, so it was almost a shadow drop, but not quite. But anyways, Alan Wake 2 DLC already came out. Plus, they also announced a physical edition coming out later
really?
this year. Yes,
That's
they
awesome.
did.
That's awesome.
Now, I think it might only be a collector's edition, which means it's going to be more expensive than if
Sure.
you just bought the physical game. But for those of us like me who don't like this new, what's it called? Digital-only release
Oh, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
That's good news. So Alan Wake 2 DLC is out now in case you missed it. And then a weird announcement that actually got me kind of interested. Valorant is finally coming to the PS5.
Oh, you think you want to give that a shot?
I might give it a shot. I never tried Valorant back in the day when it first came out because I was already deep in the weeds of Overwatch.
Right.
Why would you trade Overwatch for different Overwatch? But
Right.
now it's like, oh, but then Overwatch 2 happened and everybody kind of abandoned ship.
Well, and that's kind of like an overall thing, since you've said Overwatch now, that like is really kind of interesting. That is a big trend that is popping up through these showcases, that the hero shooter is back.
yeah.
That like, because for
Suddenly
like in the
they're back.
PlayStation State of Play, they had that Concord one. That was like their
must
new.
have missed that.
It was like the first one they showed off, but it was gonna be like had a huge cinematic trailer. And I was like, oh man, this looks really cool. Fun side note: I actually applied for a video editor job to work at that studio that's making Concord. Didn't get it, obviously.
So fuck those people.
But I was so like seeing this, I was like, oh shit, like I kind of know what this one is. I was excited to see it. And then like the trailer goes and I was like, oh, it's a hero shooter. Okay. So like it was different. It wasn't necessarily what I was expecting, but there's that one. There's a Marvel one right now. There's also going to be there's like 3, I want to say like 3 or 4. So
Trends
anyway,
come and
it's
go.
weird.
I will say
It's
that
interesting, though.
of the possible gaming trends, I am not at all bothered or upset to see the hero shooter come back because
Yeah.
obviously I loved Overwatch, which is why I'm kind of interested in Valorant.
Mm-hmm.
So now that it's coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, it's like, okay, now might be
I'll
the
give it a
time to
shot
give
with
it a
you if
shot.
you want to try it because
Yeah.
I know it's probably a pretty good mix of Overwatch and like a Counter-Strike.
See, that's more the part that I'm worried about because
Same, because I
am-
don't have the skill nor
New,
patience for
new.
Counter-Strike.
I won't speak for you, Jarrett, but I am the definition of a casual by choice. So if it's gonna be like a very try-hard
Yeah.
environment, I'm gonna be like, never mind, I'm out, I'm back out.
Willing to try.
Willing to try. And then I did, so number 4 on my list is just titled titled that whole weird Blumhouse Games announcement thingy.
I might have missed that one.
Because Blumhouse Studios is, or I'm not sure if they're called Blumhouse Studios, but Blumhouse or Blumhouse, I'm not sure how people pronounce it, is
Blumhouse.
like Blumhouse is one of
Blumhouse.
Okay. Nice Rammstein. Wow, what a
Thank
pull.
you. You were trying to cut me off. Being like, he's doing some dumb shit. It was a cool ass reference.
It was a cool Rammstein reference. Damn. Okay. Anyways, so they're one of the big presences, one of the big players in the world of horror films. So they've, as far as I know, predominantly done just movies for their entire existence.
Yeah.
But now they came out with this big, fast announcement. So maybe you don't remember this super well because it all happened so fast. Their like head of the studio or whatever came out on stage, and right before that they had displayed like just rapid fire. This is coming out, and this is coming out, and this is coming out, and this is coming out. And they were all very like indie looking games, I will say. None of them looked like, and I hesitate to use this with great with great prejudice, AAA games, because I don't believe that anymore. But most of them looked very indie styled and just hit the gamut of all different types of like gaming archetypes. There was like a horror farming sim. It looked like almost Stardew Valley, but horror themed. And I was like, that one.
That looks cool.
I want to know more about that one. Along with a bunch of other types of horror games that they displayed. So if you are a fan of horror games, I tried to go to their website the day that the stream happened, but it immediately crashed.
Yeah.
Because everyone was like, wait, what's this? So blumhouse.com or something /horror games. I forget what the actual URL was. But if you're interested in horror games and you like Blumhouse films, go check it out, because apparently they've got a bunch of little horror games in the works that are going to be coming out over the next few years and into the future, I guess.
Hell yeah.
Fascinating stuff.
Since we spend a little more time on Civ than I was anticipating,
we will briefly power
hit through the rest.
Because
let's
I do want to mention Power Rangers Rita's Rewind.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know a bunch of people that I think are going to really like that game, and it was one of the few titles that actually is slated for. It's happening again.
It's happening again. This
God.
one tab is just like making noise. Oh yeah,
you know, you
let's
can
do
just
that.
click on the icon, right?
Oh, that's what does it? That's what I was looking
you
for.
Just double click
It doesn't want to do it.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's
Anyways, Rita's Rewind. It looks like one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle / Streets of Rage Nouveau games.
Nice.
And I know a bunch of people that are going to like that, and it's supposedly coming out in late 2024. So Power Rangers Rita's Rewind.
Speaking of Streets of Rage, did you see that that's a PS Plus game this month?
I already downloaded it. Yes.
Hell yeah, same.
We could do
So
that
did
on
I.
one of our... Yeah.
We should. We should do that.
I don't know if you recall, I reviewed that game for mobile when it came out.
Oh,
so this
that's
used to be a
right.
mobile game.
Well, there we go.
Anyways, another one that looked... I put this in my notes. Dear and Boy looks scientifically formulated to make you cry. So this just looked
That's
like one
be
of
a
those...
skip.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I don't need any more reasons to cry.
You really don't. But given the situation, it's a no for Jared. It's a maybe for me, but it does look like, oh my God, it might be really sad.
Yeah.
But it also looks very emotionally charged, I will say. So it looked like Fuchsia and I were both like, oh, that looks like the kind of game we might like. So Dear and Boy looks like it might have some potential to it. And then one that I was low-key really kind of hype about, and I can't wait to see more about it, Wanderstop. So this was a game that they... It really just had a cinematic trailer. And the cinematic trailer was, first of all, very beautiful looking. And it featured a woman that you gather from her exposition used to be a warrior of some sort or some sort of soldier. You're not really sure on her backstory. But the point is, she used to do fighting for a living. And now she doesn't. Now she makes tea at a tea house out in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, I guess. But it kind of had these little snippets back and forth of like, oh wait, there might be something else going on in this game beyond tea house manager simulation.
Interesting.
And that is almost certainly the case because it's from the creators of the Stanley Parable. So it seems like, oh, okay, this little tea house management sim game, it's probably not just going to be a tea house management sim. It's probably got
be a little twist.
Some fun little twists and some little secrets going on when you actually get into it. So I feel like I don't want to know anything more about it. I just want them to release the game. I will go in blind and probably have a blast.
Nice.
So Wanderstop, I've got my eye on it. but a very squinted eye, so I can't actually make much out. And that was actually everything that I had on my list from Summer Games Fest.
Okay, I only had a couple more. Just one that we talked about, and I know we've brought it up before because there are several of us in the Discord that are excited about it, and I know that you and I are as well. Monster Hunter Wilds continues to look incredible, and like it's going to be a fantastic follow-up.
Oh yeah,
to Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter or World.
So I would say that this is more so the spiritual successor to Worlds, because Rise was very differently styled.
That's true.
This is like, it's just new Worlds.
And I came in so late to Worlds that you
really
and Bro
missed the
Mogan and
train.
Studio Boots were like so far ahead of me.
And I was still behind everybody else, so we
but
were just
y'all were
degrees of behind.
And so, but if we can start Worlds or Wilds all the same time, it's going to be a good time. Phantom Blade Zero also looks like another fun one. Just one that we're like, it looks Souls and maybe like Soulsborne, maybe veering towards the too hard of the Soulsborne curve for me.
So veering more towards the Sekiros. That's what
the
it reminds
Sekiros and
me
the
of.
Neos and stuff like that. But still, the combat of it looked so sleek and so smooth. And even if it's one that I'm like, that's going to be too much for me, that in and of itself, I can't talk, sorry. The smooth combat really is something that I'm like, ooh, you have my attention. So I'll check it out.
It looks like the kind of game that I would like to watch somebody else stream, or I can't wait for a whole new suite of lore videos to come out about it, because I eat that shit up.
That'll be good. And then the last one that I was like, oh, this looks like this could be a good bit of fun is Tears of Metal or Tears of Metal, which is the one that's basically Dynasty Warriors, but set in like medieval England and stuff like that. And so it looks like it'll be pretty cool.
Where never mind. There was some game that was briefly shown, and I was like, I don't know what to think think about this. I don't think. Never mind. Yes, I was totally wrong.
It's like
I was
a very
very
cartoonish styled game and everything with it, but like it's gonna be fun. It's a historical fiction co-op hack and slash roguelike game.
Please don't try to make me play it.
I won't make you play it, but I was like, oh hell yeah, I'll give this a shot.
Is this the game where it came up on screen? Me and everybody else in chat was like, hey, look, it's Jarrett the game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because it looked so much like something you'll like.
I think so. All right, well, let's move on then to the Xbox showcase.
And so again, I have such low expectations for Xbox at this point in the way of games.
Same.
I was pleasantly surprised.
I will agree with you on that. That this one, that Xbox's, I was especially curious to see what it was going to look like because remember this was again them coming off of the heels of of the big layoffs that they just did and the shuttering of the four various studios. So I was kind of like, what's this gonna look like? And it started off. Phil Spencer comes up and he talks and he's talking about how excited he is, and I was kind of like, this is great. Feels a little weird though because we did just go through the whole layoffs.
We know that you just laid off a bunch of people,
exactly.
And somehow your stupid ass is still here.
So
we can't seem to get rid of this guy.
I understand that. So it's like that part comes across as a little like, all right, but they had a fantastic showing of games. Like so many of the games looked fun. And
should we start with the obvious one?
Sure.
Doom: The Dark Ages.
Absolutely.
I think that's the one. We're not going to talk about Call of Duty. No, none of us care about that.
Don't bring it up again. Don't fucking say it again.
We say the obvious one, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, Call of Duty."
Black Ops 6, right?
Doom: The Dark Ages.
No, Doom: The Dark Ages is going to be a fucking ride.
I never played Doom Remake, but everybody else on planet Earth did, and it got like nearly universal acclaim. Everybody loves it. So to see it get a formal sequel, that includes dragons?
Well, because it's like a prequel that takes place like way the fuck back when.
I didn't realize that. I didn't pick up on that. So
it's like if you're wanting that lore, if you're wanting that sweet lore, you got to look at this Doom lore because apparently like Doomslayer comes from way back when. So it's like pretty much this is going to be like medieval Doom.
Cool.
And it's going to be incredible. As soon as he pulled up
really cool.
a shield that had like saw teeth on the edge that then spun, and I was like, motherfucker, this is gonna be incredible. So like I can't wait for Doom. The Doom 2016, I think I liked it better than Doom Eternal. Both were just a fantastically good time. But so yeah, I'm at 100% here for Doom
You're here, there, and everywhere.
I'm here, there, and everywhere for Doom the Dark Ages.
Way to sync up at the end there.
I love it. Another one from the Xbox that we were both incredibly excited about, and we got to have a even better look at this showcase was South of Midnight.
This is like honestly, it might be my top game that I'm hyped for. When it does eventually come out, I'm going to be all over
This
that
looks
shit.
so good.
It looks so good. So here's a quick caveat.
Yeah.
When I was watching the stream, I was actually watching it on my TV on the YouTube app.
Okay.
And the quality of streams on my TV for specifically YouTube varies. My mileage varies. So when I actually saw South of Midnight's trailer, I was like, oh man, it looks good, but it was like kind of choppy,
Sure.
you know, like a little bit pixelated. So I was like, okay, I just have to take it with a grain of salt that whatever I'm seeing right now probably isn't representative of what it actually looks like.
Yeah.
I went back later and looked and re-looked up the trailer and I was like, oh my God, it looks
It
so
looks so
good.
good.
It
I mean,
looks beautiful.
For one, we already kind of got a look of like its art style and everything from
It's
its
like
a reveal.
it's like claymation stop motion almost,
yeah,
but really
it's like
smooth.
Studio Leica.
Yeah.
You know, made a video game.
Yeah. It looks
And that's
fantastic.
incredible. And it looks incredible.
Big catfish.
Oh,
big talking
giant catfish, big giant
big
crocodile,
gator, big croc.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be awesome. And so like it is set in the in like the Louisiana swamps, I believe, and it just looks the gameplay of it, which they actually did show off
They showed
gameplay
gameplay,
too,
yeah.
which is fantastic. Love to see it.
It looks like classic video game is the way that I would describe it. Like
But also-
almost in the way of like Ratchet and Clank is sort of a classic video
Yeah.
game. That's how the gameplay initially read to me.
And then as it got into it, with some of the like fighting enemies and like the results of you like clearing the disease or whatever from the bog, like reminded you very strongly of Kena Bridge of Spirits, which I was like, oh, 100% I see that. And that game was fantastic.
And we loved it.
So like if they're borrowing things from that and going to put it into South of Midnight, like I think oh man, it looks so good.
I also missed this on my first watch through of the initial stream, but when I went back and watched again, I actually kind of processed what the characters were talking about. So I think previously we didn't really have any story beats from South of Midnight, but at least in this trailer we understand that one of the motivating factors is unnamed protagonist's mother is apparently missing. So she's looking for her mother. Her and the catfish guy are talking about like, all right, you're going to help me find my mom. The catfish is like, definitely. But we got Big Gator over there.
And I don't fuck with that.
We got problems. So now we at least know a little bit of the story beats. There's a missing mom involved.
Yeah.
Mother's Day release 2025.
Hell yeah, I'll be there.
But it is coming 2025, so there's still no hard release date. But good lord, it's the game that I want the most.
But like the fact that
honestly.
they're showing gameplay of it already
Makes
is,
me-
is a
yeah,
very
that's a good
makes
sign.
me feel good about it.
Something else I didn't realize. This is from the studio that made We Happy Few,
Really?
which kind of makes me a little nervous.
I mean, sure, but I don't think
Yeah.
We Happy Few, like I played a little bit of that one and it's, it had its BioShock influences and stuff like that, but it just didn't click as much for me.
It
but
had its problems. It wasn't a train wreck by any means.
No.
It had
just wasn't for me.
mixed reception.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also been 10 plus years.
It's been a long time since We
They've
Happy
had
Few.
time to work on other shit.
Yeah.
This is clearly what they're working on. So I'm not going to let that deter me. I can't wait for this game.
I think one that was another kind of like a big surprise to finally get to see some stuff from was the Perfect Dark remake.
Yeah.
That looks very fun.
Starring Ashley Judson? Is that who? I don't know who that woman is, but I knew her face. Who is that?
I don't know.
Oh,
I thought you
God, I hope it's Ashley Judson.
Ashley Judson. No, I only know Ashley Judd as a.
Oh.
I don't know Ashley Judson.
Who the fuck is this?
I don't know if this is who you're thinking of.
It's not. She's
Anyway.
There is an Ashley Judson, but she's a competitor in air rifle.
Yeah, that's not who we're talking about here. I don't think.
I was thinking of.
But I never really played that much of the Perfect Dark game back on the N64. But like, I actually do have it, I think, and I've messed around with it a little bit and just been like, okay, cool. It's an old retro style first person shooter. This one is like, ground up, rebuilt, completely redone, new thing, remake completely, and it looks so much like Deus Ex that I am 100% in for.
It looked a lot like Deus Ex.
The Deus Ex games are probably not coming back after the last one just did not do very well. So, seeing this one and the gameplay of it reminded me so much of Deus Ex. I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to give that a shot. Another one that's an exciting one for me from the Xbox One was the Age of Mythology Retold.
Yes, that was on my list.
That's also another one I think everybody was like, this is a Jerry game.
Yeah.
Which I'm like excited about that one because I dabbled a little bit in the original Age of Mythology, which is basically it's Age of Empires just reskinned with,
mystical elements.
Yeah, with like Greek gods Egyptian gods, a few others and stuff like that.
Dude, go Team
Very
Egypt.
fun.
They're brutal.
It's very cool, the setting of it and everything. And so they're redoing it, remastering its correct, its graphics, reconfiguring some systems and stuff like that. I want to try it out, but I've also kind of been dabbling in our little hiatus of I dabbled a little bit in Age of Empires 4 again. And I stopped because I was getting so overwhelmed in it with like the amount of stuff. Like it was just so like I'm playing the campaign, sure. So there's a bit more like conformity and like things I have to fit into to like win in specific conditions. But I was just getting so overwhelmed by like there's a constant flood of people attacking you. You don't have anything. You're playing catch up while trying to fend off this army, while trying to do da 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 da. And I was just like, no, I can't do it, and had to turn it off. So will I be trying out Age of Mythology? Yeah, probably. But I'm a little worried about it. Yeah,
that seems like a good game for a demo.
Speaking of a game with a demo, Flintlock. We heard about that one before,
right.
And it has a demo out now that I still want to try out because that game did look also very fun.
I honestly, recognize the name. I know that if you showed me the trailer again, I would recognize it. But like beyond just recognizing the name, I honestly, nothing else is coming to mind.
That's fine.
It's a blank
space
space
I just saw
up
that there was a
there.
demo for it, and I was like, yep, that looks really cool.
Another game that I feel like I almost didn't quite take in, but I put looks weird and cool as hell
I bet I know which
coming
one you're talking about.
2025. That Claire Obscure Expedition 33 game.
Yes.
This looked fucking wild. So it looked like some sort of weird combination between a roguelike or a roguelite and a turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
Like you had a party and you were fighting big scary creatures a la Final Fantasy Flavor. But it wasn't. And it was like, okay, we're going to die, but somebody else is going to come back in our place.
Like, what's the story? Like you're trying to like repaint the future of something?
So you're trying to cross an ocean, I gather, to get to a mysterious painter who keeps repainting the world, and that's why you all keep dying.
Yeah.
So presumably you're going to get to the painter and then kill them. And it's like, what the fuck is happening
It's
in this
bizarre,
game?
but like it looked impressive. It looked really cool, and it piqued my interest.
I wouldn't have been even slightly intrigued in it, I'll go ahead and admit, until I saw the turn-based combat elements, and then I was like, oh, wait a second, it's a JRPG, big quotes around that. It's definitely not JRPG flavored,
right?
But it has those elements, and I'm like, okay, I'll take a chance on a fucking weird-ass looking new game. Looks pretty crazy, honestly.
Yep. And then I think I only had a couple more on here.
The one that I just want to briefly mention because we were making jokes about it. Wait, Fable is still maybe coming out?
Yeah, this one's been, because this one is the one that I want to say Lion's Head Studio was the original developer of it. And they shut down, Fable has been in development for
Fable
years.
2.
Well, this is like technically 3, I believe.
Oh my God, is it? Jesus.
Or like a remake. I'm not sure exactly where it falls in the timeline of Fable. I've never played a Fable game. But
they've been talking about this game for at least 10 years.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while. And Lion's Head Studio was the ones who took it over, and now it's Playtest Studios, maybe? Something like that. Whoever makes the car game that Microsoft has.
Crazy Taxi.
Horizon. Forza Horizon. It's that studio.
Gotcha.
And so like the game looks like they show gameplay of this one too. It looks really fun. I actually was like it heightened my interest in it more than anything else I'd seen about it so far. I was kind of like, this looks like this could be a pretty fun game. Graphically and everything, but then also the setting and everything looks pretty sweet as well.
Fable doesn't really seem like it's for me, and I'll fully admit that when I saw the trailer and sort of got an idea of what its atmosphere was going to be like, kind of that very joking, we're all in on the joke sort of thing, like sort of making fun of itself. I think that's not really for me.
It probably is going to speak mostly to the Fable fans, sure. Do I really think realistically I'll give it a shot? Probably not, just because it is something that's outside of my...
Like, we're already not in on the joke.
Yeah, and
we're so behind the curve.
We're already so invested too in other fantasy realms, such as Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
Yes.
That, I really don't know if I have time for Fable right now.
And you've got to finish that game on the chop because Veilguard.
Dragon
excuse
Age.
me. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm skipping around in my head to different beats. But so speaking of Dragon Age and speaking of the Veilguard trailer, which we're not going to talk about too much, other than they showed Varric.
Hell yeah.
And they showed a bunch of the characters that are going to be in Veilguard. One of them was like an elderly necromancer that I was like, that guy. I want to romance that guy.
I want him in my bed immediately.
I want him to be mine.
I'm super excited for it. It's also interesting because it has a new name now. It's now it's Dragon Age: The Veilguard. It was the Dread Wolf before, and so I have no idea how that changes what the story of it was supposed to be. I know the stuff before. I'm still in the process of finishing Inquisition. I've heard of Dragon Age Inquisition. I've heard minor spoilers, I think, for kind of what happens, or the gist for what I think happens at the end of that one. And so I kind of thought that it was going to, slight spoilers for Inquisition, follow more of like the downfall of Solus the Mage and everything like that. And so, but this, I don't really think it's so I'm not quite sure how it's tying into the story this way, because that's when it was Dreadwolf. I don't know now that if it's changing and how it's going to change with this new name and everything like that. But yeah, we did get a new look at it. We kind of saw its new art style too, because
Looks good.
like it does look really good. It's kind of like the same thing. It's interesting because like Dragon Age, also kind of like Civ, has like had some changes where it's like Dragon Age, the original, was like pretty, realistic BioWare looking game, similar to like Mass Effect and stuff like that. Then Dragon Age 2 comes along and like everything got more like smoothed down and like maybe a little bit
They
more
took
of like
some
an
sandpaper to it.
a little bit more of like an animated look to it. Then Inquisition kind of goes back to the more realistic feel. And this one kind of seems like it's going back to more of the 2 look, which will be kind of fun to see. But also, looked great. Looks like it'll be fun. This one, and I know we haven't talked about it much, but Star Wars Outlaws, I know they showed more stuff for that, both in the Xbox One and at the Ubisoft Forward event, which that was really the only game from the Ubisoft Forward event that I was super excited about. But I'm kind of at the point with that one especially that I don't want to know anything else, and I'm ready to just go into the game when it launches in August. So I'm kind of the same way with Dragon Age, because like I am in the middle of Inquisition right now, because that was the game I decided to jump into in the last couple of weeks. And it's
Largely
been
because of the Veilguard trailer.
yes, partially because of that and the renewed hype around it. But yeah, it's been very fun. But I just kind of want to go into that a little bit open too, or a little bit spoiler free as I can too. But I'm very excited about the new Dragon Age.
And then in other weird news, very intentionally the word weird. So I put on my list that Mixtape had big Life is Strange vibes, and then the next line item is, and then they revealed actual Life is Strange double exposure. So that I wouldn't have seen that coming.
That was a shock.
That just such a shocker that they're making a new Life is Strange in a very literal sense, because it's continuing Max's story. Like, presumably she's older now, but she's experiencing another set of weird events.
Yeah.
She's using her powers again, but her powers also seem like they're different now.
Yep.
So Brandon kind of made a good point about this in the Discord of like, I'm not sure I'm really on board with that, because it seems like it could almost take away from the lessons that Max presumably learned in the OG Life is Strange. And I totally get that. I also have a certain amount of hesitancy around the story beats, which is what Life is Strange hinges on.
Because they are also pretty close to what the first Life is Strange is. Like, a friend of hers is dead.
Yeah.
And she's got to fix it.
So I'm
And
not.
that's what Life is Strange 1 is.
I'm not sure about that. So,
I'm excited.
Yeah, on the one hand, I love the idea of continuing Max's story, because obviously she had the most traumatic teenagerdom of any teenager ever. So I would really like to see what her story is like when she's got a few more years on her and has maybe matured more.
Yeah.
But this particular trailer made me just kind of go, huh, okay. Don't know about it yet, but I'm not sold. I'm not unsold on it. I just kind of want to know a little bit more about it before getting my hopes up, I'll say.
Sure.
I'm reserved. I'm approaching it with a healthy amount of reserve.
And I think that's smart. I think that's smart to do in today's...
We've all been hurt before.
In today's world. That was pretty much all I had for Xbox, and I only really had one game from the Devolver.
Oh, yeah, actually, we should... so this is probably part of the conversation. I felt like Devolver had kind of a much more lackluster showing than they've had in years past.
I did wind up missing the Devolver showcase, and so I was like going back and looking at it, and there was like ones I was like, okay, cool, this looks interesting. Yeah, not as like crazy as their past ones are, but we did get a very exciting update that there is going to be Cult of the Lamb DLC that allows for, again,
co-op play.
Local co-op play.
They're putting a goat in the game.
Black goat. It's Black
I want to be the goat. It's Black
from
Phillip.
the Vivitch.
From the Vivitch. Very excited about that.
Very excited about that because, like, as our last episode was revisiting Cult of the Lamb, so it's awesome.
I feel like we made this happen.
You know, honestly, you're right.
We put that out there,
You're right.
then the gods went back and kind of restitched in some new stuff because they were like, oh wait, they want more Cult of the Lamb. Okay, hang on.
We can give them a
wait
little bit
second.
more. Yeah, so could not be more excited for more Cult of the Lamb
about that.
And if there's going to be co-op, expect streams.
Can you imagine
if Cult of the Lamb?
Both of us got the hammer? Like
oh my God. Just smashing everything.
Would be chaos on that screen.
If you both get the same, stuff, man, I'm excited to try.
Do we have to fight over who gets weapons?
Ooh.
Like, is it just a matter of who gets that part of the screen
fun
first?
if like the lamb and the goat fought each other.
Oh yeah, that actually
because
would be
they just
fun.
like had squabbles constantly.
Yeah, that would be really hilarious.
I hope this happens.
I mean, after all, how many cults have you heard of where they had 2 leaders and it went well?
Ooh, not many.
Not
many at all. All right, so do you want to move into Nintendo?
Yes.
I have a couple highlights here. I figure you probably have a few more.
Why don't you do your highlights first, and then we'll come back to my highlights.
The number one big one, the one that I'm the most excited about coming out of this one is, of course, Donkey Kong Country Returns. It's going to be fucking awesome.
DKC Returns Remake.
Yep. Yes. This is the one that came out on the Wii. So I originally missed it because I didn't have a Wii. But like I did play the remake of Tropical Switch or the port of Tropical Freeze. Sorry, not Tropical Switch. That came out for the Switch, and it was so good. Also, deceptively hard for what you would expect of a Donkey Kong game. Like, oh my God. That is an incredibly hard game.
I feel like that's kind of DK's brand, though. Deceptively hard.
Sure, I guess so, because like Donkey Kong, I guess that is true, because even Donkey Kong Country, the OG original game, is pretty difficult at parts. But like I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm so used to DK Country, the original one, that I was kind of like, oh, this is what to expect. But then Tropical Freeze just like had so much more stuff to it. I've even gone back to try to like 100% like levels, get all the Kong letters, puzzle pieces, and stuff like that. It's so hard. Also, to hear the slapping soundtrack out of the Grasslands Groove world.
That I'm excited for. That is like a new remastered soundtrack.
Oh,
hell yes!
Bring it on.
Yes, absolutely.
So ready for that. So yeah, I could not be more hyped for Donkey Kong Country Remake. It returns, and it's apparently going to have like 80 levels. Like, there's so much game.
Wait,
there.
I think they said it's going to have 80 levels and then some, because they mentioned that they were also bringing in like levels from one of the DS games, maybe.
Oh, you're right.
So there's 80 levels, and then they're also, it's kind of like getting the Mario Kart treatment, where they're also pulling levels from other side games.
Oh man, so it's gonna be
awesome.
Some DK goodness, and
that's
I can't
a lot
wait.
of DK.
Can't wait. And then the other one, just because, hey, it's new Mario. It looks super exciting. Mario Luigi Brothership looks like it's going to be a fun time.
I was actually very low-key hype about this game. I thought it looked so interesting. It's a slightly different...
The art style's different.
Yeah, it's a slightly different art style than what we've come to expect from the recent 3D Mario games, but in such a fun... Like, it's almost like they took the Mario RPG games.
Yeah.
Or like Thousand Year Door, and kind of like applied that sort of look to the 3D games.
I kind of look at it like it to me kind of like evokes like a hand-drawn feel.
Yes, that's a good way to phrase it.
Or like a coloring book feel.
Yeah, both really good words.
That's kind of how I or like a late 80s, early 90s Saturday morning cartoon.
Fascinating. Interesting.
That's kind of where I would put it. But like I liked it. I thought it looked really cool.
And I thought the gameplay looked really fun.
Yes.
Like it really reminded me of Mario 3D World, which is one of my favorite Mario games actually. So it looked like it kind of had that same level of chaos, because I'm sure ideally this is a game that you do play co-op.
Yes.
Because it's Mario and Luigi Brothership.
And I'm sure it's like you can play it with a computer controller, the other one that you're not. But the one thing I loved about it is how much it does encourage a little bit more cooperative play together, other than just running through the level like Super Mario
Like when
3D
you get
World
bubbled and you get
and
dragged
bounced and all that
along,
stuff. Like you're
yeah.
actually having to like
Work
use
together.
skills together to like do ultimate like attacks and different stuff like that. It kind of looked like it actually has a little bit of a turn-based RPG system to some of the
did,
combat stages
yeah.
and stuff. So I'm curious. It looks fun.
I was thinking that this is probably a game that you and Sam will love to play
Yes,
together,
yeah.
and then also you and me can play it on stream, because I was like, hell yes, and I want to be Luigi.
Hell yeah,
I
I'm
wanna
Mario
be-
all the time.
I want to be the tall one for once. Just a couple of little small games that we'll mention real quick. Fantasian. The only reason I know what Fantasian is because I used to review mobile games, and I was mad because Fantasian was iOS only.
Oh.
So it only went to Apple Arcade, and I was pissed about it because it's very much like a Final Fantasy-esque game, and it got rave reviews on iOS. So Fantasian is finally getting a port. It's getting out of iOS jail, is how I phrased it in my
Nice,
notes.
nice.
And it's coming to Switch holiday 2024. A few people in our Discord were pretty hype about this game, so I wanted to mention it, along with Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. I will play this game.
Okay.
I've always kind of wanted to get into Dragon Quest, but honestly, its art style has never really been to my taste. Sorry, Toriyama, no offense, it's just not to my taste. But the HD 2D remake looks really good, and it's coming November of 2024. And then they also announced that Dragon Quests 1 and 2 are getting the same HD 2D remake treatment coming 2025.
Nice.
So 3 is coming out towards the end of this year, and then 1 and 2 are also getting HD 2D remasters in 2025. And then one game that we barely got to know much about, but again is sort of, I feel like, a sleeper hit in the making, Mio, Memories in Orbit. And in my notes I put, looks like a strong possible contender for the almost as good as Hollow Knight throne. Because it looked like it was probably a pretty challenging 2D side-scrolling platformer, which I will never say no to. Metroidvania, that's the one I'm looking for. It looked like a really cool Metroidvania, so I'm definitely down to learn more about Mio.
Nice.
And then 2 big ones.
Ooh.
So was there anything else on your list?
No, those are pretty much it. Well, I knew there was another Mario one that we were kind of probably hyped about.
there was?
This Super Mario Party Jamboree.
It actually wasn't on my list. Oops.
I mean, it's a Mario Party game. You know what you're getting there. I saw that. I was like, oh, sweet. A new version of this. This will be awesome.
So to be perfectly clear, the reason it's not on my list is because I actually wasn't very excited about it. I am now at the point where I feel like Mario Party games should exclusively be getting the Mario Kart 8 treatment, where they just get big new updates.
I agree with that.
Because part of the problem with Mario Party is when a new game comes out, the friends you want to play it with have to also buy it.
And it's Nintendo, so it'll never go on sale.
And it'll never go
be-
on sale.
Yeah, so it'll be $60 plus forever.
I mean, even if it were paid DLC, I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
So I'm honestly probably not going to get it unless all of my other friends actually get it and we actually play it online together.
Yeah.
So I am very tentatively maybe excited about Mario Party Jamboree, but not really. But in other news,
the big stuff.
in news that people actually care about, the Mad Lads actually did it. They actually are making a Legend of Zelda game where,
Oh, yes.
where Link is the one in peril and you actually get to play Zelda.
Incredible.
They're actually doing
It's
it.
2024 and it's finally happening.
2024, and it's finally happening. In fact, it's happening as of September 26, 2024.
Oh, shit,
This
so
is one
early.
of the few games that we got a confirmed release date for,
Nice.
and it's soon.
That is soon.
So, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom coming this year. You're actually going to play as Zelda, and I was very excited to see that they are reusing the Link's Awakening Nouveau look
Yes.
of like that same top-down Game Boy Advance era style, but with all the new pretty shiny
looks so fun.
graphics.
I really love
It looks
that.
so fun. And more importantly, they're doing what I've always wanted them to do. They're giving Zelda her own kit. She's not just going to be out here swinging a sword like Link does. That's not her jam. Zelda's all about wisdom, thinking.
Yes.
So they brought back the Wand of Gamelon. Now, that's not what they're actually calling it, but people were like, we see you, Wand of Gamelon. We know what that is. So she's got this little fairy companion that I think is related to the Triforce in some way, and she's got a wand that allows her to basically record memories or echoes of objects in the built world. So she can copy desks, chairs, barrels, beds, like physical objects out and about. She makes copies of them. Kind of like you could make copies of certain items, not items, but like helpful things in Breath of the Wild. Excuse me, Breath of the Wild 2. Tears of the Kingdom. There we go. I blank on the name all the time. Kind of like how Link could in Tears of the Kingdom, where as soon as he builds a thing one time, you can go back into his power's memory and rebuild that thing as long as you have the materials for it. So it kind of looked like an interesting ideological mishmash of elements from Tears of the Kingdom as far as building things in the environment.
Sure.
Plus the look of the remake from Link's Awakening. So it looks fascinating. I am absolutely going to get it. It's probably a day one purchase for me, and I just can't believe they actually gave Zelda her own game.
Nice.
At long last, she's getting one. We are so happy for her. Yes, queen, you got this. Save your baby girl. He needs you. And then the game that no one saw coming, that actually got a real trailer that had gameplay, and they kind of told us when it's maybe coming out in 2025, which I'm putting no stock in until it actually comes out.
Yeah.
But oh my god, Metroid Prime 4 is no longer a fantasy.
It's no longer a title card.
It's not just a title card anymore. Samus is actually back.
Incredible.
It looks beautiful. It looks so good. It looks like the Metroid Prime remake.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it looks so good. I can't wait. It just looks like more of Metroid Prime, which is exactly what everybody wants from them.
Oh, exactly.
So, fingers crossed that it's good. Just stick the landing, Nintendo. That's all anybody's asking of you. So, Metroid Prime 4, it's a real game. It's actually coming out maybe 2025. I will believe that when I see it. But hey, worst case scenario, 2026, right, people? So, very hype about that.
I was curious just because it had been so long since we heard anything about Metroid Prime 4. I had to go back and look of when it was actually first announced. Do you want to take a guess?
Ooh, 2016.
Ooh, so close.
Oh, was it 2017?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
E3 2017.
So it's been almost 10 years.
Yeah,
I mean,
close.
more like
if
eight.
it is 2026 by the time it comes out,
will
it
be
will have
basically
been
9 years.
which is crazy.
Still, yeah,
that's cool. That's exciting to get something so
very
big
exciting.
like that.
I mean, at this point in time, I was thinking of Metroid Prime 4 the same way I think about Silk Song, which is that's not a real game.
Yeah. It's just a thing I've heard.
That'll be a real game when it actually is in my physical hands. But we actually got real information on it. And unlike with Team Cherry, which is, an indie studio making Silk Song, Nintendo is like a big entity.
Oh, really?
Really big. Really big studio.
I didn't know.
So I think it's Retro Studios that they are having come back again and work on this game, which they weren't originally. That's why it's been so very long since we've heard anything about it. But fingers crossed that it's good. Retro Studios, I believe in you.
Do you want to just go down the road and knock on their door, see if we can get a little peek?
Excuse me,
Little
we'd
peek?
like the game, please.
We'll sign NDAs.
No, we won't.
Yes, we will.
We will. We promise.
We'll sign NDAs.
Come on.
We love you.
Do it. But that was everything on my list from all of the various showcases that we are catching up on here.
Same for me as well. I think that fills out my list. And like I said, a lot more stuff on there that I'm excited about. Some of the stuff we'd heard about before, but seeing brand new stuff like this and a lot of brand new stuff that actually looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
I think is going to be good. And especially like I said, I think Xbox had the best showing for me, honestly, which of stuff that I was just like, oh shit, more because I think that they actually are starting to answer the question of, okay, well, do you actually have games for us to play?
Yeah.
And I think that is the good thing that they actually showed off with this showcase, that like, yeah, we've actually had some stuff in the works. It's time for all this stuff to come out now, and you can see it. So I think that was a pretty good thing. So lots of good new stuff coming out for all of us to play. And of course, we're all excited about it. And I'm sure you'll hear us talk about it more as we learn more about these new upcoming releases. But if we would love to hear from you as well. If there were any of these showcases or games that you were particularly excited about that we didn't have a chance to talk about today, well, let us know by writing us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, joining our Discord server, talking about it with us there, or, in the comments wherever you're listening to or watching this episode. But I think with that, though, Mogan, that brings this episode of Team Chat podcast to a close.
God, it feels like it took forever.
It's been a while
I
since
think
we've
it's just
been.
because we're out of practice.
We're out of practice.
We're not used to
we're like a
talking this
solid
much.
month out of practice at this point. So yeah, gotta jump back into it. But hey, it was a fun one to get to rehash and recap some of these showcases and see what we're gonna get to be playing in the upcoming years. So it's all exciting stuff. But with that, everybody, we will have a new exciting episode coming to you soon next week. And with that, we will, I guess, see you then. But until then, everybody, I'm one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined to my right, not your right, my right, by Rachel Miller.
Adios.
We'll see you all next time.